made. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my opinions of Diablo 4. I've been playing Season 4 for about maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks now. And I've started with the Sorcerer. Then I made a Necromancer when I felt like I kind of hit a wall with my Sorcerer build. And then I wanted to make... Then I made another Necromancer. And you can see they're all like level 100. So... and all of my characters are actually quite strong. So it's like the game is... It's leveling and stuff's much faster, which is like the first thing. I actually want to make new characters now, which was like a problem I had with the game originally, because this was my original Barbarian in pre-season 1 when the game just launched. And it took me like 2 weeks to probably get to level 100 with this character, whereas in like the space of 2 weeks, I've made 3 pretty boosted like level 100 characters, and I started a rogue last night. Played for about 2 hours. It's already like level 40. So leveling has become like ridiculous. It's also at the moment there's a buff. It's like a 1 year anniversary since the game came out. So it is a bit faster now than what it would usually be. Especially I could feel it on this Necromancer I made, which is like a summon. I wanted to try a summon build. My first Necromancer is more of a damage over time one, and then this one is more of a summon one. So yeah, so I made some notes just on the stuff I wanted to talk about, like bullet points or whatever. So Helltides are really good. I think they've done a very good job of improving the Helltides. They feel good. It's like you feel like you're in a battle zone. It's like constantly enemies like fighting you. There's constantly extra enemies that spawn. Let me see if I can find Helltide. There's one here, but 25 minutes, yeah, that's fine. This character is pretty boosted, so everything's just gonna die. But all 3 of my level 100 characters, it's been like very easy to kind of like get strong. Like I can do like tier 100 rifts probably with like, maybe not the Sorcerer, because I stopped, I didn't want to change my build, and I think I didn't understand the game as well as I do now after playing for like a little bit extra. But and I mean, you can even use they've added these mind cage things where everything gets leveled. That's one thing I want to talk about, but I'll go down the list of how I made the notes. But I really enjoy the Helltides. I think they've done a very good job. And I think they need to make the whole game like this, where you have this little bar that fills up whenever you fight enemies, and then when you fight clear like enough enemies, they should spawn like more like waves on top of you. I think that's just a cool and fun mechanic. It's I turned on my latency. You can see I've got quite high latency. It's always at like 200, but I'll talk about that as I go down the list. But yeah, Helltides are great. I fucking love it. And it's like you can literally just summon this boss up here over and over to level, right? And it's like, you can see I've got 153 of these hearts. They're very easy to get. You get them in, I think you just get them from killing elites. But I think you also get them in the specific 275 chests. Right, there's some event where there's a lot of treasure goblins at the moment. They drop these little bags. Ah, unique ring. I've had many of those. Uniques are also... no. Let me not jump ahead, because I want to talk about that too. But yeah, I really enjoy the Helltides. I think they've just done a great job like in redesigning them. And I mean, this is cool. Like, people just keep showing up and to summon this boss. So even if you don't have these like little heart things yourself, you can literally just come to the Helltide, come to where the boss is, and start fighting. And people tend to show up because it announces to the whole map that someone has summoned it. And yeah, I don't know if anyone cares about my build. Yeah, like, this is my build. I got 1 in all of these, 3 in these. I got Blood Mist just to survive. I got +2 to Skeletal Mastery. I want more. I might try to get more. Anyway, that's just my general build. I got 8 +5 to that, which is pretty good. The Grippified, I don't know if I need it on 5. I just added it because I didn't know where else to put my stats. But it's a summon build. I wasn't enjoying the summon build at first because it felt much weaker than my damage over time build. But now it actually feels stronger than my damage over time. Actually, I don't know if it feels stronger. It feels about the same. The summon build I feel is a lot better for clearing like just a lot of waves. My damage per second I think is lower. I don't feel as bursty as my shadow damage. You see how fast the fucking boss died? That wasn't just me, there's some other guys here. See, this is 99, maybe it was just me, who knows. But look how fast it is just to clear these like things, and for leveling up, this is fucking great. It's like, I want to try not to swear. It's great. It's just good. I've been really enjoying the Helltides. And my character's only got 20,000 life, which maybe it's too much. I've been really trying to min-max a little bit. Usually I'm not that type of person, but the game does. It is a min-max game, so I'm not trying to play a meta. Maybe this is meta, I don't know, but I didn't look up a guide on a build or anything. This is my own build that I've just kind of experimented with. And I got a pretty good weapon. It's got a perfect roll on 3 things, which I think is quite strong. And I got 2, but I'll talk about that as I go down the list, like I said. And I'm not even using like all my skills here. I'm literally just kind of AFK, semi-focusing. Yeah, but I mean, look at that. That was like in a minute. Like 2 of these bosses basically almost died. So I think just the state of the Helltides are great, and I wish they would do this to the entire, just everywhere. Like add this little bar, add like, I'll talk about that now. Let me see what my next thing on the list was that I wanted to talk about. So the blacksmith extra upgrades. So I have only played the game in season 1, and then I got bored because I thought it was too grindy to level up. So I don't know when they've added these changes. So a lot of these things I'm talking about might have been like in the game for a few months already that I just didn't know about. I haven't really been watching videos on Diablo 4 or anything. I've like, and actually now like on the weekend they've announced the release date of the expansion, and there's like Spirit Born and all kinds of stuff. So I think there's a little bit more hype about the game again. But even just season 4, the game seems popular. I haven't felt there's just constantly players in the towns, right? It seems like very similar to how it was when it launched, and maybe even more like popular, honestly. So I think people have like realized that the game is better again. And let me just summon this. Maybe these guys need to summon it again. I don't know. I actually want to teleport to the town to talk about the blacksmith thing, but I want to see like, it's just look how much fucking like of these legendary things are just dropping. Right? There's a perfect ring. I'll try to get that. It's gotten to the point where I actually only want to pick up the ones that are like the perfect rolls or whatever. I'll just resummon it for these guys and then I'm gonna fuck off. I mean leave, sorry. And this is great too, these like worms that just randomly spit things out. I wish they would just add that to the entire game. I think it's great, like the amount of mobs. But I feel like I'm rambling on about that now. Oopsie. Took a bit of damage there. Hey, Tree of Whispers, full. Okay, let me just teleport to town. These guys are gonna struggle a bit more. No. They seem to be a bit lower level, but whatever, it's fine. I did summon it for them. So yeah, I think what they've done with the blacksmith is really cool. It's just an immediate boost. It makes you much stronger. Like I could fight like 20 level higher things when I was like level 80 or whatever. So I'll check if any of these are better than mine. Mine's intelligence, maximum life damage. Maximum life. It's about the same. It could probably be better. I'd need to look. Essence on kill, I don't need that. Vulnerable damage. It's also about the same. This one could be better because I could stack an extra damage on it as well. So I might keep this one. There's a bunch of stuff. I'm trying not to like just fill my stash with random crap. No shit, that's not. Oh, and they added a little dog. You can't really see it because it picks up materials in gold for you. There it is. I'm playing the game on like medium graphics because I think it struggles when I try and record and stuff. Golem Mastery, it could be pretty good. If the Golem Mastery was a reroll, I'm using Razor Plate because my creeps have thorns. But I've kind of learned that the skeletal masteries and the golem masteries actually add a lot to your damage output as a summoning. So I think that's actually the main thing you want to go for. So I got it on my pants, I got it on my gloves, and I got it on my helmet. And then I want to maybe get it on my chest if I can. So I might keep this one. I'm not going to do all that stuff now. I'll do it when I'm not recording. Anyways, I was going to say, these tempering things are amazing. Like, I think the problem is that you can only do it 5 times. I think they like rerolls. I think they should make it unlimited, similar to how your enchantment things are unlimited. Because the problem is, look at every one of these choices have like 4 options that you can get, and what ends up happening is you end up getting maybe like a weapon like this with the perfect 3 like perfect rolls on your things, but then you end up with the wrong like tempering things and you ruin the item, right? Which I don't like that. I think that's like something that could improve just by making it that either cost more mats, like but you can re-roll it as much as you want. Because like I've found a helmet where I've re-rolled it trying to get Skeleton Mastery on it. I think I actually put it on my stash. And it costs like 3 million gold now to re-roll this one, right? I thought it was really good, but I kept not getting the Skeleton Mastery. So I'm not using it. I'm actually rather using this one, which is slightly worse, but it has +2 Skeleton Mastery. Because that skill, that's such a big like boost. But I do like it. I think this tempering thing, I think it's a good add to the game. It does make you feel that you have a little bit more customization of your items, because there's so many that you can choose from. Like I can't actually show. I think the amulets, do I have no amulets here? I think the amulets have the most options. whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, because like immediately summon builds, to me summon builds have always felt quite weak. But with this summoning finesse, you can add so much summoning damage and just skeletal mage damage and stuff to your, that this build feels like, it feels viable, right? If for like end game stuff, in my opinion. Maybe not like very high level stuff, but I've managed to do a tier like what, I don't know, like tier 100 or something. Maybe not on this character. It went up to 94 on this character, but this, I think this was last night just to level up glyphs, and it still felt like relatively easy. So, but I'm out of the necromancer, so I did manage to do 100 relatively easily, honestly. Like the pit ones are actually much harder now to do. So yeah, I like these. I think it's made a lot of builds feel more viable. Like you can experiment a lot more now, I think, than you could before. And you can add 2 of these to each of your like ancestral things, which I think is great. And then the other thing is this masterworking. I think that's great too, because then if you level 100, you don't feel like that's the end. You feel like you can actually improve more above like just leveling up and getting like sort of the basic items. You can upgrade your items like 12 times. And I mean, it is a little bit, this is when it starts feeling a little bit more grindy to me. But I think it is a good addition if you want to like get even stronger than what, like just to try and push the limits of your character or your build or whatever. And yeah, I think just the reworking of the blacksmith, I don't know when they added this. I'm not sure if this is a new thing or if this was in the last 2 seasons, but I think it's a great addition. Like there is a little bit, like you can re-roll this, reset this, but it costs 5 million and a bunch of stuff. The only problem is that, like over here, where is it? Like over here, right? I have dodge chance on my pants, which is a terrible stat that I don't really want there, but because it's got the max intelligence and then +2 skeleton mastery, I was like, okay, well that's, I guess that's okay. So I should probably change my pants to something different. But you see, like I got the upgrade, the 25% upgrade on the dodge chance, which is the worst stat on this. I would have much rather gotten it on the skeletal mage or intelligence, or even just like the max life or golems. Like I feel like dodge chance is a useless stat for this. So I need to actually change the pants, but these are the best ones I've found so far, I think. But other than that, I think this is just great. It's like a great addition to the just to the game. It feels cool, like that you can level kind of up. Gets like you can kind of level up past like level 100 in my opinion with this. Okay, so the next thing is the gold requirement. You need a lot more gold, just in general. But it's relatively still easy to get gold, but then things just cost a lot more gold. Like, I'll try to show you. When you want to reset, it costs 5 million, right? And then before, I don't know if when this change was made, but I felt like gold just felt like useless. Like you weren't using it at all. I think it's a good change to make everything cost a lot. So like even to just craft these gems costs like 1 million to make, and you need 10,000 ruby things. I like this addition as well. I think it's really cool that these are much harder to make now. You can't just like, I mean, you can still like, you can see, but I've made like 3 high level characters, so I've got quite a lot of this stuff. So it's still like, you can still get these like relatively easily, but it is a little bit, takes a bit longer, and they feel like they have a lot more worth because of that. And I think gold has a lot more worth. It feels like it does, to me anyway. So I think it's a cool addition. And like even just like upgrading, like adding stuff to this, right, costs like 300,000, which I think is cool. I think I like this edition that everything costs a lot. And I mean, you don't, it's not hard to get gold. You can literally just go to Helltides and you get quite a lot. And you also get these weird like things. They sell for a lot. So if you do run out of gold, you can literally just sell these. They sell for like $1 million to $1 million, 1.5 per like stack of 50, and you get so many. I think I've sold like fucking 20 to 30 like stacks of these just to like replenish my gold after I think I spent like 40 million trying to reroll this helmet. And I just got it back because I just sold stuff. So it's not that hard to get gold. You can also just sell these items. That's kind of what I've been doing. Whenever I find items, I literally just sell them because they each sell for like 200,000, 100,000. So it's like, it's not hard to get gold. It's just, it feels like gold has more value, and I like that. I don't like that it made gold feel pointless before. Because you don't use it to gamble, right? Because you use these herbal things to gamble. So it's like, okay, so I've got like fucking 3 billion gold, but I can't use it. So what's the point, right? But now it just feels good. I think it feels better to me. Okay, next thing. Summonable bosses are good. Yeah. So that's the same with that Helltide one. I think it's good that they've added like bosses that are summonable. It also added places where you can farm specific uniques, like this ring that I'm using. I didn't know that the ring existed because I wasn't really fighting the thing in the ice or whatever dungeon, which is it's a nightmare dungeon that you can craft with this distilled fear. It's this ring of Mendel. So this ring hadn't dropped for me, and I didn't know. And I was looking at like I was just going through a list of rings online to see if I've missed anything, to try and see if I can improve my build at all with any unique like things. And then this ring was there, and I was like, oh, you can just farm it from the thing in the ice. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. So it's like I literally went and killed it like 6 times and got it relatively easily. And I like that's an option, that they've added that you can farm specific like build defining uniques. So I think the summonable bosses are just really good. A good addition to the game. I don't know when they added those either. But it's just cool, man. It's cool. It gives you like a little bit extra options to if you need a specific unique. Because on my first Barbarian, I wanted to try out a sword that made the one skill better. And you can also summon like higher level ones. I'm not strong enough. It's a level 200 one. My damage is still too low, I think, to fight the level 200 one. I think all my items would need to be level 12, and it also needs to be min-maxed to the moon. So I'm just gonna summon the weaker one. Probably won't last very long. Jesus. It's only level 75, so it makes sense. But just being able to summon these, I think is very good. And you can farm. One problem I have with these ones is they drop lower level items. You can see the level 86, 866, 842, 825. So they're not the max drop from these the lower level ones. Duriel and Andariel do seem to drop the max ones because they're level 100. And the thing in the ice, it's level 80 or 85. But I think it's a good addition that you have some sort of thing where you can summon and farm specific items. Because it's very frustrating when you need an item for your build and it never drops. So I think it's just a good option. Addition, sorry. Okay, next thing is... Sid, actually, summon all bosses are good. Maybe scale up to 100 though. Yeah, I think that's the one thing. It needs to scale up to 100 because... I mean, you can summon the level 200 one, but at that point your build is probably like really already like maxed out that you don't need items anymore. Okay, so next is like leveling feels better, and then I want to make new characters, and that's true because I've made 4 characters. I've already like started the rogue already. I didn't feel like after the pre-season when the game came out, season 1 or whatever, when I had my level 100 barbarian, I was kind of over the game, right? I didn't really want to play season 1 because it was so much of a grind to just get my character to 100, and then I played a druid, I got it to level 60, and then I got over it. I was like, it's too slow, man. The leveling was much too slow when the game came out originally, and I think it's much better now. I actually want to make new characters. I feel like I would never have made it just a second necromancer to try a different build before, right? Because it would have been such a grind. But now I can just do it. I don't know if it's too fast at the moment, probably because of this character. I literally leveled it up on Friday from level 1 to like I think 95 or something, and then the next day I just leveled the last like 5 levels. So in one day, I like not even like probably like 10 hours or something, I leveled from 1 to 100, right? And that's like crazy to me that I could do that, whereas before it took me like 100 hours probably to level my barbarian, if not more, really. Like it was like ridiculous how slow it felt in the sort of just as after release. But yeah, I think it's great. But like at the moment, you are getting 25% extra from this thing. This is gonna end, I think, tomorrow or the day after. It's like some treasure goblin event. It's because it's been a year since the game came out, I think. But yeah, I think just making it leveling faster, it makes the game more enjoyable. You want to try out more characters, you want to experiment more, and I think that's a good addition. Game feels less grindy. It's kind of the same thing. I'm just reading what I put down here. It definitely doesn't feel as grindy. Items like drop like crazy, like constantly. You don't have to. You can literally just do the Helltide, right? I'm just going to do a Nightmare Dungeon while I'm like talking. So I'm gonna just stand around. It just feels better in general. Like it's much easier to get uniques. It's much easier to just gain levels. It's much easier to just everything. Nothing really feels grindy. Like the only thing that feels grindy to me is when you do the pit. But even that is like very... Oh shit. The explosion got me. So these things can one-shot me. That's like the one thing that can happen, but I can relatively kill them though. I just need to focus. Don't even have to focus that hard. It's just that I didn't see that explosion coming. Yeah, like nothing really feels grindy, man. Like except the pit, and even that, like if you just do a level that you kind of comfortable with, it doesn't feel as grindy. And I actually like. Well, actually, I think I've mentioned the pit anyway, but I'll say it here as well. Like, I actually like the pit for like testing my builds. Like, because what I can do is I can run through one that where I feel like I'm kind of doing okay, but it's still like I can get one-shotted and stuff like that. And then make a change to see what's better. You can see I'm rubber banding a little bit here. And then I can see if the change is better immediately. Like I like the pit to test things, right? And I think that's a cool addition that you can just like do that. I mean, before you could kind of do nightmare dungeons too, but then there's like all these like affixes and things that like they add, and it's very like frustrating just to. Whereas the pit doesn't have any of that. It's just like straight up. The monsters are quite strong. There are some like affixes that appear on like the bosses and things, but other than that, it's literally just like it's good to test, and you can see it. It's timed. So you can see whether you do stuff faster or slower, depending on the change you've made, and whether the build is, like the item or the thing you're trying to experiment with, is better or not immediately. And I think I really like that. So yeah, like I just think the game like generally just feels less grindy, which is it's really cool, because that's one thing that like grindy is not bad necessarily, like. But if it doesn't feel like fun, I guess that's when it starts feeling like more of a chore than anything. Then you don't really want to do it, and that's when you stop playing the game, in my opinion, because it just feels like it starts becoming like a job or something, and jobs are shit. So, and I think they've done a good job to get rid of that feeling. At least for me, it doesn't. And I mean, it's by no means like perfect, but it is generally much better than what it was. Let me just clear this wave, and then I'll check what my next thing was. Is that it? No, still some stuff here. It's like I need to be careful of these enemies because they can one-shot me. My defenses are pretty good. I've got Fortify as well, but I can, like, some explosions and things still like kill me, like those suicide dudes. Challenge dungeon is good. Okay, so I wrote Challenge Dungeon is good with a score system, better than Diablo 3 Great Rifts in my opinion. Good to test build efficiency. Yeah, so they've added a challenge dungeon. Where is it? Here, trials. So they've added this thing where you get put on like a leaderboard. So you can see I've done pretty good actually. It's not the best. The best. I think I'm a little bit under, but I thought I did quite well with this, my build, my sort of like not meta build. But this is really cool too, to just, I think it's a good addition. It gives you something to kind of aim for, and also it resets, like, the dungeon changes every week. And it's not randomized, like it's every time it's the same, so you can kind of like plan around like how you want to do it. So it kind of tests not just your build, but also like your sort of way of your thinking. Like it's almost like a puzzle, right? That you need to try figure out like, oh, what is the best way for me to do this like dungeon in the most efficient way? And I really like that. If you can like kind of really experiment and try push so try and cap and really like try and push your build to farm the enemies as fast as possible. Just gonna use this. Oh, here's the shrine right here. Last shrine. need to watch out for this crap on the floor. It's gonna like fucking lose. So yeah, I really enjoy the challenge dungeon. I think it's really cool. It's a cool addition. It feels a lot better to me than the leaderboards of Diablo 3. I didn't like the Greater Rift leaderboards. That's like, I don't know, that felt very grindy to me, more so than, like it felt like you had to play some sort of meta build in order to do well. But I think in this challenge one, I mean, you do have to play something that can clear the room very fast, but it feels like as long as you have something that can like kill enemies quickly and run like very fast, like movement speed is obviously a very big thing, and this I'm trying to get my movement speed to 200%. At the moment I think it's 180, but oh wait, I did get all this stuff. This dungeon is fucking confusing if you're not like paying attention. Yeah. But what else can I say? Challenge good. But like the people at the top, they're crazy. Like I can see, and also you can kind of see which classes are better, more like OP at the moment. Barbarian and Sorcerer seems to be much higher. They seem to get the highest scores in these challenge dungeons, like, and that's been over 2 weeks. I've noticed that. So I've done 3 different challenge dungeons. I did one, then it resetted like the next day, and then I did 2 more. So it's reset twice since I started playing. The first one I was really struggling against. That was on my sorcerer, and the first thing you fight is a spider, and poison damage in this game is like crazy. Even with like maxed out poison resistance, it's like it like ticks so fast that well, not even ticks out, it just fills up your whole bar and makes it green, and you panic. I don't know if it's even like that strong. It's just the mental aspect of it is quite strong. I think more than anything. Just gonna summon some. I barely use my ult. I use it mostly to resummon my skeletons if I die. Because it's like, that's one thing with the summon build that's tedious, is resummoning your skeletons. Because I've got 14 skeletons, so it's like... I have the aspect on my amulet that gives me +3. That's why I can have 3 extra mages and 3 extra warriors. I don't know if my golem is decent now. I was using the bone one, so I'm trying the iron one because it stuns, which I think is pretty good. But yeah, I've been kind of changing them. I started out with the blood one because it adds damage reduction, but then I felt like the iron one was better, but then the bone one adds taunt, which I thought was pretty good, and thorns. But I might change the thorns razor plate thing and to get more mastery, but I'll see how I feel later. I'll have to test it and experiment with it. I'll check now what my next thing was. Okay. Build experimenting, any random build feels like it could work. Yeah, so that kind of ties in with the blacksmith's tempering. Let's drink some coffee. It feels like you can kind of do anything and it can work because of like the aspects that they've added, and also just the uniques that they've added. They've added some to try out a different, like, so you can experiment, I think, a lot more with like different builds. I mean, this type of game, I think, is always like the faster you can clear like large groups, so AoE type builds always seem to be better, in my opinion, than just single target damage. But I mean, honestly, you can try make single target damage work, but because just with the tempering, you'll get to a certain point, and then you'll start feeling like it's struggling. But I think every build will always have like negatives, like stuff it struggles with more than other builds. So it's like, so that's not that bad. It's just I think it is just a lot easier to experiment now because of the tempering and the things they've added with it. Also, just the ancestral way that they've done it. It's no longer like a consumable. These like ancestral legendary like imprints or whatever. I think they've done a very good job just with that. It doesn't feel punishing anymore, where it's like, oh, maybe I need to save this like high level one because I don't want to waste it on an item, and then I find a better item. It's like you don't have to care as much anymore. You just need to pay gold and materials, which I think is a much better system. You don't it doesn't feel like you have to hoard these like powers in your inventory anymore, or in your stash, right? And I think that's just a much better way of doing it. And again, I don't know how it when they added this.
I need more time.
But I just think it's just good the way it is now. And it just feels much better, man. That's like the thing. And a lot less punishing. I'm just leveling up all these random ones. All my stuff's level 21 already, the ones I'm using. So I'm kind of just like leveling them. I'm only doing this now because I'd rather, yeah, it's because I'm talking and I don't have to like focus as much. And I don't want to just stand in town and while I'm talking. Can I? Oh, there. Cool. Yeah, so experimenting with builds is just, I feel, is much better. Because like my sorceress build is like a Hydra build, which kind of feels like similar to the Demon Hunter's turret build in Diablo 3. It's a mix of like Hydra and costing like Frost Orbs, I think. And then there's a chance for your Hydras to summon Frost Orbs. It's not like super good. I did feel like I hit a wall like relatively around like level 85 or something, Nightmare Done like level. So it could definitely be better. Maybe it's just simply the fact that I need to boost my Hydra more or something, but it's just like that's it. But it's like cool because I could like literally just go with that build and it felt like it worked up to a point, and then I started like dropping off. But it could literally just be like a minor tweak here and there, and it could actually be better. I still feel like it's a good build. I just need to kind of min-max it a bit more than what I have. And when I played that character, I also didn't really understand the game as well. I think I understand it a little bit better now, especially on this Necromancer, because this summon build felt bad. Like, when I got to, like, I could immediately feel, like, a drop-off when I started doing, like around, like, maybe the same, like 80 or whatever Nightmare Dungeon. It just felt terrible. I was like, this isn't working. Like, I don't know what to change. And then what I changed was literally just my Book of the Dead, like what I was using, right? So I was using Skillet, the cold ones, but like I felt like the shadow ones actually is much stronger because they fire piercing bolts. So they clear waves a lot like better than the cold ones, in my opinion. And then every 3 attacks they fire an additional bolt. So it's like they do much more damage per second, in my opinion, than the cold ones. And then also the golem, I was using the blood one, which is more of like a tanky one, because I was like, oh, I'm constantly getting one-shotted, maybe I should get more defense. but the bone and the iron ones are just feel like much stronger to me. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like, just the bone one, like the iron one, every second attack it smashes like everything like behind it, like in like a cone, like a splash damage thing. That's like immediately like just better than the blood golem in my opinion. And also I can right click to stun enemies around it, and I can target like things. That's the one thing. I wasn't really using this as much as like a skill. And then when I started using it, I was like, oh, it's actually really good. Like I can target these like things that give everything a shield, the champions. And I can just right click on them and the golem charges them and smashes them. And that made it like much better to just, this build just started feeling better when I started just playing around with my minions more. And also just adding these like skeletal mage masteries and warrior masteries. That's a massive jump in like damage. Like it was like crazy. You can see the warrior mastery at 75%. I think it's like the 2 extra stats in my, it gives like plus 30% damage, I think. And then here it's 160% on level 8. So I think you need to try focus on these types of things, the skeletal mastery, maybe even the golem mastery, to really up the damage of your minions. And that will make the bowl just feel like, I think, much better. And also, like I said, the ones that do like splash damage or pierce damage, stuff like that. I'm not sure about the warriors. I might change. I think I did try the Reapers, but they felt weaker. So I don't know. I don't really know. Like the skirmishers seem to deal more damage. I'm just using one extra one because I think it's got a big boost in damage. But yeah, like, it is just experimenting. It feels like it's just much better now, I think. One thing that is a problem, though, is that it is the Paragons, I think, is a little bit too bloated. Because, like, on my Sorcerer, I wanted to change this page, the first page I attached. But in order to change the first page, you have to undo everything. And I think that's like feels very like weird. I feel like you should be able to just change a page and not have it like link up. Maybe read it out in a way where you have to link it up again. But I think it should be, any of these pages should be interchangeable at any time. Because having to redo everything, if I just want to change one page at the start, feels like so like clunky and like punishing, almost like a mission, that I don't know. Attack speed, I wonder if that's better than intelligence. No, but no, the other 2 rolls are crap, so I'm not going to use it. But yeah, so I think it's like, it is just like better that you can experiment a lot more with like any random build. And it kind of ties in with the tempering thing. It's like tempering just made builds like more doable. Like you can make a Thorns build, right? It feels like a lot more doable because the tempering thing has like, it literally has stuff. I don't know if it's a defensive one. I've re-rolled all of these. I can't. Like, I'm sure that you can add thorns. Maybe it's utility. Yeah, there, see. You can literally add thorns to all of your items that can... Oh, see, look. Shield, helmet, chest, pants, amulet, gloves, and boots. Almost all of your items, slots, can have some sort of thorns. So even if you don't have razor plate, but I mean, why would you not have razor plate? If you... But even like this, right? So I had a razor plate, then I gave it to another guy I was playing with, and then I was like, I was kind of like regretting it afterwards because then I couldn't use it anymore, and I felt like a damage drop-off. But I could literally just go and farm it from, I think, Lord Seer. I killed him like 3 or 4 times, and then it dropped. So it was like very easy for me to just get razor plate again, which I think is like really cool. Anyway, next point. Unique drop rate, much easier to find normal uniques. Okay, well, I mean, I've been talking about that anyway. But yeah, the unique drop rates is great. The fact that you can actually target farm some of them, most of them, all of them, I think. Except for the mythic ones, you can target farm them, but it's much harder. You have to summon the Uber level 200 and Dariel and Duriel, and it only has like a 2% chance to drop, I think. That's like cool though that they've added that. But also you can actually craft. That's one reason why I made another character. I want to craft a Harlequin's crest, and you can actually craft them, which is one of the like really rare mythic. You can craft them with this resplendent sparks. So you get one of these if you do the Iron Wolves seasonal like rep thing. And I've done it 3 times now because I have 3 level 100 characters. I only need to do it once more, then I can actually just craft this straight up. You don't have to go and farm the Duriel and stuff. I think it's actually much easier to literally just farm the rep for the Iron Wolves. Because especially now at the moment, I mean, this buff's going to go away. It's not that hard to do. You can literally just do Hell Tides. They constantly like on, and it's a little bit of a grind, so it does feel a little bit more grindy, obviously. And I see it costs 50 million gold to do, but I mean, gold's so easy to get, relatively easily to get. So by the time that I've got this, I'll have like probably 80 million or whatever gold again, unless I spend all of it on trying to make another item. But I want Harlequin's Crest. I think that will give me the biggest boost to my build. I think it will be much better than this. It gives +4 to every like skill, I think. And I think it'll just be like, it'll just give me a massive boost in just damage and survivability and everything, right? So that's what I'm kind of aiming to get. Probably on this character. I'm enjoying this character the most out of the ones I've played so far, actually. I think my Shadow Necromancer is stronger, just damage-wise. And, but it's a lot more like a run-and-gun type of build, where you have to run, shoot, 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 run, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot. Whereas this is a lot more passive. I can like kind of chill and take my time. The skeletons do most of the things for me. So I think this feels more like relaxing to play, whereas the other one feels a lot more like try hard. Like you really have to focus and dodge and like constantly kind of just run while, but enemies like take damage even after you like, you don't clear they die like after you leave the area basically. So it's like, anyway, yeah, unique drop rates, much better, I think. Vendors and chests closer together. Okay. This is a great, I don't know when they did this again, but the fact that there's a chest right here instead of there is just better. Just more chests everywhere on the map. And also all the vendors are together. The blacksmiths here, the enchantment persons here, the occultists, and like the shop persons here. I mean the gem people, like some of the shops are a little bit worse, like some of the towns, like this one down here, it's slightly worse. But the majority of them are like close to the portal. You can go to the blacksmith very easily. You can go to this. The ones that you need, even the gem one, they're all close together. That's a much better design. It feels less like of a slog to go back and forth between your chest and the vendors. I think it's just a better. They should have had that right from the start. Like, I don't know who thought it was a good idea to put your chest like 100 meters away. It's just weird, but this is better. Much, much, much better. And I like it. I think it's good. It feels more streamlined. It feels like just like I said, less of a grind, less of a slog. that might be one of the reasons the game feels less grindy, honestly. Just the fact that the vendors are placed in a better like place. Okay, and then aspect rework feels much better and less punishing. Limited resource was bad. I've already talked about this, but I think the fact that the aspects now, and also you can get them maxed out, which is great. Before they had the lowest like drop or whatever you managed to find in disenchant, but then it was like a limited resource, right? You can still farm these things. I don't know if you can get all of them in dungeons, but you can still get like some of them in dungeons. But the majority of these I found from items that you can disenchant, and it upgrades this in your Codex of Power. It upgrades them as you disenchant the items as you find them. And I think most of them I have on max now. There might be some random like ones here and there that I haven't maxed out. So all my rolls on my items are maxed out, as far as I know. This one's slightly higher even. That's weird. Oh, no. This one's not maxed out. But, like I said, the majority of them are maxed out. And I think it's great. It felt like so punishing before and also limiting. Like I said, you want to not spend it because you're scared you're not going to get it again, right? And this just feels better. It's just a much better rework, much better redesign, and I like it. I think it's good. I think it's just good. It's like I can always have the same ones on my items now. I don't have to worry that like, oh, maybe I shouldn't change the item or whatever because I'm gonna lose this like perfect roll from this like aspect or whatever, you know. And yeah, it's good. Okay, and then stuff that I think can be improved. So that was all the pros that I can think of, or wrote down at least. So these are like things that I think could be better. The UI. I didn't know when I started my sorcerer how to do an emote to do a side quest. Because there's no buttons here on the bar anywhere that I can see that has like a thing that you can click on and brings up a little menu where you can choose. Yeah, I had to press like all the buttons on my keyboard, and eventually this popped up and I was like, oh. So E is to bring up this emote like thing. But to me, like, why is that not on the bar, right? Town Portal is here, Dash is here, Horse is here, Potion is here, right? Why can't they add like the E over here or something, or even like the map? I mean, the map up here, I think it's tab up here. It says tab up here. But that's like also weird. There should be just like an M or a map or a tab or something, or just a thing you can click on and it opens up like a drop down menu or a pull up menu or whatever that gives you all the options. Instead of like having to know what my hotkey is. Because I haven't played the game for a year. I come back and then I'm like, I don't know how to do emotes and things. And it's like on E, it's also leave dungeon is here, right? And like trade is here, or inspect is here, or whatever, invite to trade is here, open chat, all of this stuff is here, right? I see, even invite to party. I didn't even know that was there. It's just like, it just feels weird, like, that it's not just on your bar here. I understand that they've designed this for consoles as well, and that's probably why it's like this, because most console games seem to have really bad UI because they're limited with the buttons they have. But this is like, you have a mouse, right? So for like, I think for PC they should at least make it that there's the thing you can click on that brings up all of your available menus that you can. So I think the UI just needs a lot, like it needs a bit of an improvement because there's a lot of things it feels like it was just added in as an afterthought. It wasn't like, oh yes, people need to be able to leave dungeons. Oh right, people need to be able to like trade and invite to party and whatever. And I think trading was even added later because I don't think you could trade in the original like when it came out. Then another thing is that in order to reset dungeons, you have to open your, like, you have to press tab first, then you have to, like, press Q, and then there's reset dungeons there. And I was like, I didn't know you could reset dungeons, because it wasn't, there's no, like, why is that not here? Next to leave dungeon, why not reset dungeon? Like, it's so strange. I don't know if I can actually customize this. Maybe I can. Player menu. What is that? Let me see what player menu is. No, it's not available. So that's probably for like other players. That's like trade and stuff. But like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like just really weird. Like the UI just feels like it could be much. Oh, it's a social. It says socially at the top. Leave dungeon. See, why can I not put reset dungeon on this? It's so it just feels so like weird that reset dungeon is in my queue here by like on my map. It's like just a very bizarre place, like as if it was just thrown in there. It's like, oh yes, of course they need that too, right? Let's just like, it feels like it was designed by an intern. That's like what it feels like. It feels like someone just got the job. It's their first job ever, and they were just like, oh, yeah, right. Let me just put it somewhere. I don't know. It's like they'll never find it, because how do people generally then reset dungeons, right? You leave the game, and then you come back. That's like a relog. That's basically how I was doing it, because I didn't know this existed until like randomly stumbling upon it. It's just bad UI. I think it could be so much better. Like, I think for a AAA game, it just feels weird. I don't know. And I mean, this is not the only game with bad UI. Like, Souls-like games have bad UI too. So, I think it's a console thing. Monster Hunter World has a terrible UI as well. Okay, so next thing, the pit deaths feel punishing with weird respawning places. Yeah. I think that needs to be, like, when you go through a portal, I don't think that when you die you should spawn on the other side of the portal again. I feel like it's too punishing. I don't know, I think a lot of people play with a party, and I think that because of that they don't maybe don't notice it, because if you get resurrected by your friends, that doesn't happen. So it feels like the game is incentivized that you do play in a party. Because a lot of things feel less punishing when you are in a party. Unless the whole party wipes, right? Then it can feel punishing. I'm just going to do like 51, because that's around the level I feel like I can do without struggling. So when you die, it revives you at a random. I don't know how it works. I don't know if, like, where the checkpoints. It feels like the checkpoints are just like every few minutes or something. There's a checkpoint, and it feels very like extremely punishing when you're already losing a minute of time, and now you're also in a random. It's very disorientating, right? To respawn in a previous area before you went through like a portal. I think it's like it is just very strange. Oh fuck, almost died. Yeah, I can get one shot at, like, so I need to actually, maybe 51 is a bit too high while I'm talking. The reason I do 51 is because it gives you 40 things. And it's like, I don't like I don't like uneven ones. It feels like weird. Then it's like, it feels like I can, like, I guess just disenchant them and change them to the lower, whatever the lower things. I think a good, like, build, if I could get my blood mist to permanently be activated, That might be like really cool. That's like very similar to the Demon Hunters, how you played the Demon Hunter and the other three.
I'm not ready yet.
Like, then you can get rid of all your defenses, focus only on damage. But I don't know if that's possible. There's no like cooldown reduction gems and things in this, or there's not a lot of cooldown reduction. Maybe there is. Maybe I haven't really been looking out for it. There's like in the tempering actually, so maybe you can do it like to get to the point. I'll have to experiment, but I don't want to. I don't know if I'd rather just make another. That's one thing. I think I've added that to my list. I'll check just now. That's why I didn't want to do the pit, because it's a time thing and I can't really pause or lose time. So I think it's actually better to just do Nightmare Dungeons, so I don't want to get frozen. I should actually attack these, because if I attack them, my cooldown does go down, but I'm struggling to... Summon bolt. I feel summon bolts are weaker in these types of tunnel areas, where... because your skeletons get blocked off by walls and stuff a lot. I've definitely felt that. It's not a very controlled like playstyle. You kind of rely on whatever your enemies like start attacking. Your minions start attacking.
I need more time.
The golem does give you a little bit more control, because you can target where it's going. But yeah, I just think it's very punishing, the deaths in this. When you do die, it respawns you at like you already lose a minute, right? And then you have to run back and try and it's disorientating, man. So now if I die, I'm gonna respawn in the last area. Maybe I should just die, but if I die, I'm gonna lose some skeletons. But I can just resummon. Let me just die and show what I mean. Just kill me. Fucking kill me. Oh my god, they're not attacking me. I'm trying. Okay. See, so 30 seconds got removed. So you get punished from that already. Also, the timer keeps going. There's a 3-second delay. Look at this. Why am I not spawning on that side, right? Why did I spawn behind the portal? It's really weird. It feels weird. It feels punishing. And you don't feel that if you play in a party, because I've played in a party with my brother, and he can just resurrect me, right? So you don't like, so I feel like that's why maybe people haven't like mentioned it as much, or maybe they just don't care. But I mean, I'm sure they want to, they are like, I think they are trying like to make the game like better than what it was initially, and they've done a good job. I think they've done a very good job. Like, these are minor things, right? I'm still enjoying the game like a lot more than I did before. I want to like play it more. Like, honestly, I'm like addicted to the game. So it's like I just want to play it all the time, which is like the way it should be, or should have been initially. But because it was so like such a slog and just I don't know. So yeah, that's just one weird like thing that I think they should change about these pits is where you respawn. It shouldn't be on the opposite side of the portal. They should make the checkpoints like maybe 10 or 15 seconds. Every like 15 seconds should be a checkpoint, because just getting punished, you're getting punished already by losing time, right? Which is fine. I think that's fine because it does show you that you need to be stronger to do this. But I don't know, it's just like, it feels like very jarring and disorientating. That's the biggest thing that gets me. I need to watch out for these. This thing is fucking strong. Oopsie. Oopsie. I need to be careful of that because it can kill me like it basically one-shots me. That wasn't too bad. Would have been a little bit better if I wasn't talking, but I'm trying to get all my weapons to level 8, I think. Master rank 8. I could probably go up to 60 or maybe higher for that, but 60 is where the changes over. 61 I think changes over to the next thing. Okay, so the next thing is world boss is more like Helltide summon world boss instead of timer. Yeah. I think they've changed the world boss already. I saw like this was before they've changed it. I made this note, but it still feels weird. World bosses feel very weak. They've got more HP now, so that they don't die instantly. But what I don't like is the fact that there's a timer for them. There doesn't seem to be any on the map now that I can see. But it's like basically every like 2 hours or something a world boss spawns. Maybe every hour. I don't know if it's every hour or every 2 hours. I think they should remove that. I think they should make it more like where you farm these like parts and you can just summon the world boss. Because I think that will be a lot more popular and people like... I think they need to make the world boss much harder. Like to the point where it's like... you need like a proper party to actually do it. Right? Or you need like a raid group type thing. And I think it needs to be summonable... like similar to like how Uber, Duriel and Andariel and all of these summonable bosses, I think that needs to be just the staple for the world bosses. And just make them super, super punishing. Only like a really high level people should like try and attempt it. The reward should be like really good or something. There should be like skins or some shit that you can get. I don't know. But I think that the way that the world bosses just need to be reworked. Because having to wait for like a world boss to spawn, and it's like I would have just ignored the world bosses if I didn't have to do it for the seasonal journey. I guess I only need 3 more. I had to fight 10, I think. Where is it? I had to defeat 10 world bosses for the seasonal journey. If I didn't have this, I don't think I would have bothered, because it's too tedious to wait for them. Like, it's just tedious. It's like, why? Just remove that. Like, just make it so either make it like a really difficult like thing to summon, right? Like similar to how these things are, Stygian stones. The drop rate for these stones are very, very low. Just do it like that. I think like it would be much better, and then anybody could just summon them. Similar to how it is in the Helltide with that succubus like that you can summon. I think it's just better. Rather make it like a challenge instead of like just a waiting slog. And I think this game has a lot of that, where you have to wait around for things to happen. And I think that's like the part of the problem with the design philosophy that they had. Whoever like came up with like that, because a lot of the bosses feel like that too. They go invulnerable. You almost one-shot them, right? Like literally just like kill them in like a second. But then they go immune and change to some new phase or something, and then the phase starts and they just die. And I'm like, that whole like, it feels very strange when you can kill enemies so fast, but then you have to wait like 10 or 15 seconds for them to say some things or to change into some form or something, and then you just instantly kill it again. Whereas you could have just instantly killed it. Instead of that, like rather just make it stronger so that you can't instantly kill it, instead of giving the weird pauses. And that's the same with the world boss, where you have to wait for it to spawn, but it dies like almost instantly. Even now with the more HP, it still feels like, it just feels like a damage sponge, right? It doesn't, it doesn't like, it didn't kill me. It like the boss hit me like multiple times. I took like almost no damage. It's like if the boss hits me, it should like just like either deal me like almost like max out damage or one shot me. Like because I was too like stupid to avoid the attack or something, right? But then make the attacks more like telegraphed or something where I know it's coming. And I mean that's generally a problem with the game's I think design as well. It's like a lot of the things you die out of nowhere. It's like explosions and things that's on the floor, but you can't see it because there's so much clutter. There needs to be like the screen needs to like flash red or something when you're on something that's going to kill you. It's like some sort of indication because there's so much chaos. Most of the time, there's just a lot of items on the screen. There's a lot of enemies on the screen. There's a lot of. With my shadow necromancer, there's so much like puddles of like just dark puddles on the floor. I cannot even see the explosions from enemies. So it's like if I can't hear the sound, right? Because I'm like talking or someone else is talking to me or something, or my sound is just like turned like quite low. Most of the time those things kill me because I didn't know that it was there to begin with. And I think that's like just a general like problem that there's just like some weird like UX design problems. It's kind of UI design or whatever. Is it UI design? No, it's user experience. So it's like UX design. Like there's just a bunch of those like little problems like that where it's like they kind of like didn't think about those types of things really. They didn't hire people that would like. It's like they used unicorns or something that could just do a bit of everything. Like they just took like the developers or the coders or the animators that said like, oh, you know some UX, right? Why don't you do it? It's like that's what it feels like. Like it was like understaffed or something in the UX department. Anyway, so yeah, world bosses need to be reworked. But that's mostly because it's like I don't care for them. I don't want to do them because I feel like it's like it feels like a waste of time most of the time to do them. It's like, oh, there's a world boss up or whatever. Do I really want to go there? It's going to take me like a minute or two to get there, and the boss is going to die in like 2 seconds. So it's like it's just a strange feeling. Whereas I want to kill like the Uber Duriel and Andariel. I'm just too weak to do it. But that gives me some sort of like goal to reach with my character. And I think that the world bosses need to be the same as the summonable Uber bosses because I think it would just feel better. I think it will more people would be actually interested in doing it. Because most of the time, if you go to the world bosses, it's relatively empty. There's usually like maybe 8 other players, and the world is like full of level 100 people. I think people just don't give a fuck about the world bosses. Honestly, most people just do it because it's a weekly like chest that you get. I think that's the only reason people are doing it. I don't think people are actually excited about doing them. So I think they need to just put some more effort and actually just only focus on fixing world bosses for like the next season or something, and just make it like better, you know. Like I think it could be so much better if they actually. It just feels like kind of bland, I think, at the moment, and like they just damage sponges, and I think that's been like that since. I mean, they weren't even damage sponges before; they just die instantly. They feel better on the lower like levels, right? If you do it on the lower levels, they do feel better. But on level 100, people's damage scales so much. So I was thinking like what they could try. I mean, first of all, they need to make them summonable. Don't put them on a timer. I think that's bad. Like making people wait is just bad in this type of game where people want to do stuff like constantly as fast as possible, and making them wait that's just a bad design choice in my opinion. But then the other thing is, they need to try and scale to like an average power level or something of the people around them, or an average level, because some of these like people in the game do so much damage that they can one-shot these bosses. that shouldn't be the case, right? Even if your damage is like fucking 5 billion a second, the boss needs to feel like it is actually decent, like strong and stuff. So I think the bosses need to scale, like it needs some sort of algorithm or something where it goes like, oh, there's like this amount of power in the area. Let me scale accordingly so that I feel like a challenge and not just like get one-shotted by this guy who has played like for like 500 hours and has the best min-max meta build, you know? So it's just like it just needs to be reworked, I think, because like I said, I don't think anybody's like cares about the world bosses at the moment. Well, I don't. World bosses, okay. Weird boss and event pauses where you can't kill because some sequence is happening. Now I've talked about that already. So it's literally like I said. You kill these enemies so quickly, but then you cannot kill them suddenly because they're shifting forms or something, and the form shifting takes like longer than it would have taken you to actually just kill the thing straight out. I think they need to remove that type. I mean, they just need to rework it. It's not it feels clunky. That's the thing. It makes the fight feel like clunky. Okay, where's the other one? Skill cost animation and dodge animation feels like stuttering. Yeah, I mean, that is like a thing. So it's like I'll be running, and then you see there's like a weird pause that happens when I use a dodge. Like, and then a lot of the time what happens is, while that pause is happening, the thing explodes and you die. I feel like when you use this, it should give you some sort of either invulnerability frame or something that just for like a little bit, or that wind up animation needs to be removed because it feels like I'm rubber banding almost when you're using it in a fight. And it's the same for like casting. I don't feel it as much on this character because it's not. But on my other characters, my sorcerer and my whenever I used a skill, like summon a Hydra, my character would stop. And because I'm running so fast, it's like my character would constantly like kind of do like this, right? Like just it feels like the game is stuttering. And I don't know what they can do about that. It's just like it just feels weird, like sometimes. Like it almost feels like I'm rubber banding. But that's just like a thing that I think, and I don't know how they can fix it, but yeah. Everywhere like Helltide with mob density and meter that spawns waves on you. I've spoken about this already as well. I think it needs like to be like the Helltide everywhere. The mob density especially, because a lot of like the areas feel very bare bones. You can like run around and not really see enemies, not really see that many enemies, honestly, like, except in the Helltides, where it's like constant. Look at this. Look how empty it is, right? There's like almost nothing. Like, there's a few snakes and some quill beasts, or quill rats, or whatever. It's just like such a... just empty, like I feel like there should just be much more like density in enemies in the open world. But also just there needs to be that little bar. I think the Helltide bar should just constantly be there, and things can just spawn out of the... What happened there? Am I like lag? I just think it would make the general like... Because the Helltides feel cool, man. When you're fighting in the Helltides, it feels like overwhelming with the amount of enemies, but not in like a punishing way, where it's like it's like almost like more like an adrenaline rush way, I guess. It just feels good, man. They've done a good job with the Helltides. I think the whole game should just have that. And yeah, I don't know. I just think it's great. And they should try and do that to the whole game. Nightmare Dungeons, Helltide, like, the Pit. I mean, the Pit kind of feels like that too already, so So I just think that they did a good job with Helltide. Always online. I don't like that you have to always play the game online. And especially because like on peak hour, like peak times, their servers are like, I can see like my latency goes up to about 300 or whatever. I start feeling like rubber bandy. Even now, like sometimes it looks like a weird, like where my character like bounces back a bit. I don't like it. I don't like that you have to play online. I think that it's fine for like, it's fine if you want to play like online and stuff, but I would also like the option to play offline. And it's like, it doesn't seem like you can play offline at all, as far as I can tell. It's like, it feels like, because when I lose connection, what is happening? Do you see this weird like rubber banding thing? I don't know what's happening. It just feels strange, man. It's like, I understand that what they're trying to do is like to make it like an MMO type game, but I'm doing most of the things alone. I played most of my characters alone. I played with my brother only after I started my necromancer. So my sorcerer I played by myself. I could have played that offline, right? Or at least have the option to not always have to be online. Because when you do lose connection, and it does this reconnecting thing, my game closes. It doesn't just leave the game to my character screen. It literally closes the game completely, as if it's like, I don't know if that was a bug, but that's what happened. And it kept closing, like when I was playing like on the weekend, I think, or maybe it was Thursday, I don't know. But last Thursday. Like the server just seemed like it was struggling, and then there was like, my game like would literally just crash. Or not crash, but like close. It would say I've lost connection, and then it would like close the game completely. Because it loses connection. Like, I don't think that should happen. I think that should literally just go to the character select screen, or whatever, like a title screen or something. And I think that's generally just a problem with like having to be like online to play the game. But I don't know what the problem is. Maybe it is a bug that was just happening. They have patched the game now, like with the pre-patch or whatever, for the expansion to add the little like dog. I like that I think they should make this Greed Shrine, they should make it that treasure goblins always spawn. But you see how like few enemies are here in this area, which is like I could have farmed like way more like gold there if the density was just like a lot more. And I mean, it doesn't have to be super a massive increase. There's definitely some weird shit happening. It's like my almost sort of like rubber banding. Yeah, anyway, I think it's just a bad choice to make it that you have to play online. Rework Paragons, tedious to respec. Yeah, I've talked about this already. I don't think that they need to make it less points or anything like that. I think they should literally just make it that you can swap out these pages at any point, as long as you it needs to be like read out or something until you connect the thing where it's supposed to connect. I think that's all. I think if I click on this, I should be able to just change it to whichever board I want. Or I should be able to just unlearn these things, this page specifically. Or this page, or whichever page I want. But I don't, having to change, literally go and unclick all of these, which is like 100 or something points, is very tedious and makes me not want to respec. And that's why I felt like it was faster for me to just make a new character than to have to respec. It's like, no bullshit. That's why I made it a second Necromancer, because I really thought, I was like, this is too tedious. I would much rather just keep my build and just make a new character. And yeah, so I think the Paragon point needs to be, there needs to be some changes just to make it less tedious to respec. Skippable dialogue. I think they should make all of the dialogue in the game skippable. I think the dialogue and the voice acting and everything is very good. I like it, but I don't like it after seeing the same voice line and the same dialogue sequence like 50 times, you know, or whatever, like more than twice or 3 times. I want to be able to just skip like those like little events that happen, like oh, this is actually another thing. I think they've zoomed out the camera, if they've given you the option to zoom out. That's a good choice. I don't know why the camera was like this. It felt like very like claustrophobic and like just weird for a game where there's so much shit happening off screen constantly. Right, so like these things, maybe it's not this.
Please.
Yes, but actually this type of thing, right? This is, I need to be able to skip this dialogue and the monsters just need to be spawning. I don't want to hear about your like problems. Random spirit that I've like saved like 50 times or 100 times or how many every time. I've probably saved the spirit like more than 1,000 times by now. And every time it's like this type of sequence should be faster. There shouldn't be like or there should be an option just to turn off dialogue, right? That you don't have to hear the same like dialogue multiple times and that it speeds up these like types of sequences. Because now he's just walking from A to B and I have to like kind of follow him, right? Which feels very like bizarre, and most of the time I want to just skip these things because I can like farm items or experience much faster by just going to the Helltide and summoning that boss over and over, which just feels so much like better and less clunky than this. That's why I said like the whole game needs to be how they made the Helltides, because I think that will just make the game better. It will not force you to stand through these like weird sequences where it just feels like it slows you down. It's fine if you want to just like play in a slow way, but it's also like if you don't want to play like that. But even the Helltide, you can choose. That's the thing. You can choose how to play the way you want to play. But with that, they force you to play in some slow way that most people don't want to play in, like, right? So I think like just make the dialogue skippable or something, or just rework all of these side quests somehow. But they probably won't do that because I mean that's like a lot of work. I think that the foundation of the game was badly designed by people that didn't seem to understand. It's like it's almost like they had a mindset that this is how they want people to play, instead of just letting people play the way they want to play. It's like, no, they're going to play the way we want them to play. That's kind of what it feels like, and I think that's a bad mentality as a game designer. I think you should make the game in a way that people can take it and experiment and play how they want. Don't try and force your like play style onto people. Anyway, open world feels pointless most of the time. Yeah, I mean, I literally don't come to the like, look at how many areas I haven't explored. I'm level 100, I'm pretty boosted. I haven't gone to any of these places. Why? Because there's nothing there, right? It's literally like this. It's barren. There's almost nothing. There's no reason for me to go there unless I do the side quests, which are mostly like ones I've done more than once by now, I think. And they just it feels tedious and pointless. There's no reason for me to go. The only reason I go to any of these places is because the Helltides are there, which is like, again, just honestly, the whole world should just be the Helltide permanently. And then, I don't know, the other reason is to do these like sort of tree quests, right? And even these ones, I only go and do the dungeons because they give 5 points. And I do the dungeon so fast that I can farm like the 5. I think it takes me less time to do 2 dungeons than to actually run to all these other ones and do them like that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like, the open world needs to be reworked somehow, or there needs to be a reason to go there. I think if they just add more summonable things and like weird, like just interesting rare things that you can summon, or like things like a secret levels or something that are in these areas, people like you would want to go to these areas a lot more. If there's like some sort of objective, like you can summon a world boss there, or you can start some sort of event at a location, or something like something that's that you can trigger yourself with items that you've found in chests or in special locations or something, right? But there's definitely like there's no real reason to go to these unless you're bored and just want to explore, I guess. I mean, the only real reason before was to find the Lilith statues, but I found all of the Lilith statues in my first like playthrough, so I don't have to think about that or deal with that anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I think the open world just feels, like I said, it feels pointless. Like it's very like vast and expansive and whatever, but it's like it's also empty and useless. It's like it just, I don't know. There needs to be like some sort of incentive to go there. Mind Cage should be stackable or drop higher tier ones for overpowered players. That's a Helltide thing. You find these Mind Cage things, they increase the level of enemies by 10. 10 is not enough when you are as boosted as I am at the moment. I used that when I did that Helltide earlier. I used one of these. Those were 10 levels higher. I can kill things that are like 60 levels higher than me, right? So 10 is not enough. It needs to be stackable, or it needs to drop. They need to start dropping like legendary ones or mythic or whatever the fuck other colored ones that can either be stackable or ups the level by like 50 levels. Because, like I said, 10 is not enough. It's good when you're leveling, but when you're fully leveled, it's definitely not enough. Sorry, I was drinking. And I think they can make it stackable, and I think it'll make it better. And maybe just up the item like rate you get, or maybe the rarity of the items. Maybe you get perfect rolls more often, or uniques more often. Or maybe it increases the Uber drop rate of items. That would be cool. I think if you can add 100 levels, right, make the enemies level 200, that would be amazing. Like if you could do that. Because I think, and then just go like, oh, and now Uber drop rate is, okay, let's still like just make it like 2%, but like, I think that would be crazy. Especially for people that are already super boosted. Then you could farm for like, I just think it'll be cool if they can like stack it or something. Maybe scale bosses to average power. Okay, I've talked about that already. Iron Wolves level too slow, and I out-leveled the items. Yes. So, this Iron Wolves, where is it? While I was leveling my character, I out-leveled the items that I got from the Iron Wolves. From these like reward chest things, right? I out-leveled this thing. Like I was level 100 I think already, when my Iron Wolves experience thing was only like here or here. Maybe even here. And then these last items, I think only these last few ones, or this last tier, gives you the max level items, or maybe not, maybe even like just the last 3 or something. This is the thing I think you need to get that, to get this Replenished Spark. Yeah, I out-leveled it. So, and these items don't scale. I was trying to keep them for a little bit, because I was like, oh, if I don't use them immediately, maybe at level 100 I can click on them and I'll get free items for my level 100 character. It doesn't work like that. it doesn't scale. It's a set level, and I out-leveled all of it. So these items were completely pointless except for the materials and stuff and the gold, and literally just like as mats mostly. That's basically the only reason these things were here. So I think this needs to be like, just make it either scale to your level. That's actually, honestly, that's all they need to do. Just make it scale to your level. Because I think it's like weird that it doesn't. That it's like some sort of set level. Why? Like, I don't need these items anyway. I could just go farm a Helltide more and get the items my level instead of like bothering with the Iron Wolves, which it's like, again, like it's the same feeling as the open world feels pointless. The Iron Wolves camp feels pointless. Except for like me trying to get Harlequin's Crest, right? With that one item that you get from them. Okay, Iron Wolves to capped rerolls on blacksmith buffs. That's the tempering thing. I've already talked about that. I think it's weird that you can only reroll 5 times. It feels punishing in a way that it shouldn't feel punishing. Rather, if you want to punish me, make it more expensive so that I have to farm more, so that I can just redo it. Don't cap me off, because then what happens is I don't take risks as much. That's what happens. It bars me from taking risks. Like, oh, I can temper for this thing because 3 of the 4 is something I'm willing to accept, rather than like summoning, right? I will rather take this instead of, I don't know, let's see. Say another. Okay, let's say this one, right? Let's say I wanted the damage one. I would much rather take this one because all 3 of these options are acceptable. But then I actually want the damage one, but now I'm not going to use this one because it's only 1 out of 4 chance. And chances are I'm going to get the worst one, which is probably, I don't know, distant enemies, right? Because enemies are always close to me. So distant enemies would probably be the worst for me. But that's what I'm just trying to explain, like, why limiting rerolls, it forces you to make worse decisions. Instead of taking risks, you take the safe option. And I think that's a bad design. I think they should just get rid of it and rather just make it more expensive than to re-roll every time, than cutting me off completely. But I mean, that's just my opinion. But I think it feels weird. Servers kick you on peak times. Yeah, servers are bad. Look at my latency, it's 211. My usual latency for European service, I'm in South Africa, so I'm going to have latency no matter what I do. But usually it's like 160 to maybe 180 ping. But for some reason, this is always 210 to like 250, right? Which means that the servers is just slow on, like, there's just a problem with their servers. So I'm having like at least 40 more ping than I should have. And I get kicked like randomly, right? Like I said, it's like I will say this thing reconnecting and then my game would just close. And it happened like a few times. I've probably been kicked, I don't know, not as much now, but like in one night I'd probably been kicked like 6 or 7 times when I said like on Thursday or whenever. And then it's like, I don't know, like the servers just need to be better, I guess, more stable. And that's like another problem. I would rather play the game offline. So if your server's not going to be like super amazing and stable, just make an offline mode so that people can play offline. I want to be able to play the game that I paid for. I don't want to rely on your servers being good for me to be able to play it, right? Uniques feel like a big loss in stats with the new blacksmith buffs. Yeah, so I felt using more than 1 or 2 uniques feels like a drop-off in stats, because you cannot temper uniques. And I think that's a bad decision because it makes me feel like the only reason I want to use uniques is because of a unique ability, like Thorns has 140%, or rather this ring is every 6th attack from a minion explodes. This ring, I would probably use this ring no matter what, because it gives me attack speed on minions, it gives me maximum life on minions, and it gives me Thorns, which I think all of those are good for my stats. I don't feel like it's a big damage drop-off. But the chest, I would like to... it feels like a damage drop-off, because I cannot temper it. Or rather, I can't add like golem buffs or whatever. So I think uniques need to actually be stronger because of tempering. I think they need to be balanced a bit better. Because at the moment, if I get a tempered chest with like Golem Mastery or something on it, might be better than Razorblade. And I think it's a weird feeling, right? It's like, it feels like you have to really like want the passive ability on the unique to make sense of like using it. So I don't know. I don't really know what they could do to fix that. But I think that because tempering now just makes the normal items feel so much stronger than the unique items. So I think they might need to rebalance uniques a bit. A glossary of keywords. Struggle to figure out what desecrated ground was. Yeah. So there needs to be some sort of like help bar or something where you can click a question mark thing to tell you what things do, because I have a glyph that says desecrated ground. Where is it now? It was like a level 21. Oh, it's the wrong necromancer. I have it on level 21 on my other necromancer. This fucking thing here. So it says your desecrated ground deals more damage. Okay, so I used this for I leveled it to level 21. I thought it was increasing my damage by 500%, but it wasn't. It wasn't doing anything because none of my skills caused desecrated ground, because it doesn't tell me what desecrated ground is. But desecrated ground is very specific to specific skills that are not on your skill tree, that you cannot search for it, right? So it's a specific thing on an aspect, and certain unique items like I think I've got boots or gloves. Let's see. Here, create desecrated ground beneath your Severer specters as they travel, damaging enemies by 2000 damage, which is not a lot of damage. Desecrated ground is only created by like items, but there's nowhere that tells you that. So it's like, I struggle to figure that out. I was playing for like probably like fucking 4 hours or something or more with a glyph that did nothing, because I wasn't using something that I thought desecrated ground was anything like blight that adds a damage bubble on the floor. I thought that's what desecrated ground meant, because it doesn't tell you anywhere else that it doesn't. So I think they need to have like some sort of glossary thing where you can click on it and actually read up on what desecrated ground, because I had to Google it, because I was like, this glyph doesn't seem like it's doing anything. And it wasn't, because desecrated ground is very specific to it's only created by items, which is like so strange to have this like glyph that does this thing that isn't even generated by skills. I don't know. It's like, feels weird. I mean, vulnerable damage. No, but vulnerable damage does get generated by skills, and I can look that up, or at least the keyword is searchable in the skills. But desecrated ground isn't, so I was like so confused. So I think they really need to add some sort of glossary just for that reason. And I don't have to Google it. Like I feel like it should be in the game. I mean, what is it? What's that game called? Is it Lost Ark? Which is the new like action RPG. I played it for a bit. It's really cool. That game has like a little question mark thing almost everywhere, and you can figure out that game is so like the UI in that game is so much better than this game, the Diablo 4's UI. Like, how is it that like a sort of some sort of indie company or whatever like smaller company does a better job at UI than a AAA massive billion-dollar company, right? Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like Blizzard has so much more resources than like Ark, probably the people from Lost Ark have. But then like you can see like the people that it's just like weird. It's like it's just I don't know. It's just strange to me. I think they relied on Diablo 4's name. Diablo's name, the game, the IP. Because I think if this was not a Diablo game, I don't think it would have sold as well as it did. It's literally, that's like literally I think what it is. They were like, this game's gonna sell no matter what we do. Let's just like do whatever the hell we want, right? And I think it's the same with Diablo Immortal. They probably had the same mentality. It's like, it doesn't matter what we do. It's gonna sell. Cell phone games make more money because people are like addicted to gambling, and like, let's just do it. And it works, right? They make them money. So, and I think it's the same thing with us. I think they probably spent the least amount of money, got the worst like designers and the cheapest like, you know, straight out of college like intern level like type of people to work on this game, to design it. And then when there's backlash, they're like, oh, let's try and fix it. You know, it's like the foundation of the game is bad. It was badly designed. And that's why the game is, I think, always going to have problems. They can fix it, but I think it's going to take like very long, because it's basically have to rework most of the systems in the game. And I think the Helltide's doing a good job of that. But now like everything else needs to be like that, right? And even the blacksmith and everything, the game is good. I like it. I think they focus too much on the story though, and the cinematics and the voice lines and dialogue and stuff, and less on the gameplay elements. They should have done it the reverse, because I like the story and I like all of that. But then the game felt very grindy and kind of just not as cool, or very like just grindy. I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. Why no holy class? That's like just a random personal thing. I think all the other Diablo games, except for the first one, had a holy class. Okay, so Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 basically had a holy class, and that kind of became a staple because Diablo 2 added like sort of, and it kind of just feels like it goes with the game, like with angels and demons and stuff. If there's shadow damage, there should be holy. And I don't know if they're going to add, because I don't know if the Spirit Born or whatever is going to be holy either. And there is holy damage in the game. You have potions that, okay, I don't have one now, that do holy damage. But I think it's strange to not have like a priest or a paladin or anything like that, because there's even a priesthood, like these guys at the top here, Inarius' people. They're basically paladins, like warrior, templars, priest type dudes, right? They could have added like that type of class in the game. I think it would have been fine, but they didn't, so whatever. Even if it's like one that you can buy as like a DLC, like extra, like similar to the Necromancer in Diablo 3, I think they should have just do something like that, just so that there is a holy class. But yeah, that's just like a personal thing. A bestiary or lore book would be nice. I like lore. Lore is good. Maybe even like an item book which lists all the uniques or something you found. Yeah, so I think that's, yeah, I think just a bestiary or a lore book would be good. It's similar to the glossary. I would like to be able to just go to my collection, click on lore or bestiary, however you say it. And I mean, I don't think it's that much for them to add it because they have a bunch of lore books and stuff that they've already like are selling. If they just take the some of that, even just the dialogue and stuff, and just put it so you can read about the history and stuff before this takes place, right? So it's like, I think that would just be a cool addition. And I mean, Diablo Immortal, a cell phone game, has a bestiary. And it has like, it's cool. I really like it. I think it's really cool. And that's like an extra mini game they can add. It's like you can literally go and kill all the enemies and they just add little bits of lore to them, right? Maybe say like kill 40 or whatever. Like I've killed 10,000 of all the enemies in the game. Like I've gotten the achievements. It's randomly popped up. Like, I think if they had instead of giving me a title, kill 30 monsters. No. Where is this? Maybe it's an exploration thing. Ugh, whatever. I haven't played hardcore. Maybe I should play some hardcore, especially now that I can level a hardcore character so quickly. I just think it'll be cool. Like, I think it'd be cool if they added like bits of lore on the characters and the races and religions and cultures and whatever. I mean, not races. They're human, so it's, well, no, because there's angels and demons and Nephilim and whatever bullshit. And just like little bits of lore of like all the areas, even like anything that's, I think would just be cool as just to add as an extra like mini game type thing where you can collect lore. I would really like that. That's a personal thing, obviously, to me, because I like lore and I just think it's cool. I ordered the Book of Cain, like literally because I didn't know it existed. I was looking for merchandise, Diablo like figurines and things, and then I was like, oh, there's a Book of Cain, or the Roderick book series or something. They released a box set. I didn't know what it was, and then I was like, oh, it's an actual like just a lore book of the game, and I was like, I didn't know that existed, so I ordered the Book of Cain. It's supposed to come at the end of the month at some point. I didn't want to get the box set in case I'm like not a fan of it, so I'd rather buy them separately, and I think I want to rather force myself to read through the first book first, like read them as I buy them, and then, so I'm gonna do that. But yeah, anyway, that's like all the things that I wrote down as my notes. The last two ones are basically just my own personal things, the Holy Class and Bestiary and lore book thing. But I think overall they've done a good job of the game. I think the Helltides improving, the Blacksmith improving, just the drop rate, the being able to summon bosses and farm specifically for uniques and stuff. Like I said, I couldn't find a sword in my first, with my first Barbarian, and that like kind of ruined it for me because I was really trying to find the sword and it would never drop. And I think if they just kind of keep doing similar things, the expansion's been announced now, and they've said it's going to come out 8 October. So, like, I guess we'll see how that goes. I'm sure that it'll be good. Blizzard is always like, I mean, Blizzard's changed a lot as a company since when I was a kid, and like sort of Diablo 2 was a thing, and Warcraft 3 and whatever. But Blizzard has always changed, right? They've changed a lot even since the 90s when I started playing Blizzard games. I'm sure they had changed a lot at that point too. And companies just tend to do that in general. So, but now Microsoft owns them, so I don't know if it'll be better or worse, so I guess we'll have to see. So far, what they've done with the game I think is very good. So, if they keep doing things that make the game more fun and enjoyable, then that's all it needs, right? That's the only thing. And I think just overall, I think it's really cool. like what they have done. And I think that the game was problematic from the start because the foundation, I think, was bad. Like they focused, like I said, they focused more on. Oh, that was weird. But they focused a lot more on the story. So because you go to the open world while you're playing the story, they didn't focus on it. I think the end game at all, or just the general gameplay to make the game fun. I think they wanted to make like a hero's journey game and force you to play in a specific way, the way they think you should be playing the hero's journey. Because like, oh, I like playing this way, so everyone else must like playing this way. And that's unfortunately not how it works. And I think as developers need to kind of try and look at the best games that people always go on about, like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Sekiro. Well, maybe Sekiro is wrong, because Sekiro does force you to play in a certain way. So let's rather just... And, like... Those games usually don't force you... like... They give you options to kind of... to play in the way that you want to play. It's like, here's this world, here's the tools, go out and do whatever you can. Instead of like saying, like, you have to listen to this dialogue, you have to run here, you have to run here. Those are the games that are the worst ones usually, is the ones that like, just try and force you to follow some sort of set path that the developers created. And I think that's just generally the way it is. Because people literally don't want to, they want to play the way they want to play it, and people don't want to change, right? Anyway, I feel like I've rambled on for long. This has taken me like much longer actually than it was going, than I thought it would. So yeah, I'm probably gonna call it here. I recorded this like offline or private or whatever because I don't want to make it like an actual stream. It's more like just a recording of my opinions. And yeah. But let me know if you agree or disagree or anything like that. I like talking about stuff like this, sort of this, more like monologue about it, I guess, but I do like seeing sort of what other people's opinions are and stuff. I'm trying like not to be like super toxic about like, oh, I don't like this, but it's like you naturally want to say those types of words, but it's more like could be improved. I'm trying to use more like positive type of language and not swear as much because I tend to swear a lot. But yeah, as I say, game's great, definitely recommend it in the state it is now. Could be better, but it's definitely better than what it was, in my opinion. And I am enjoying it, man. I'm really enjoying it. I want to just make more characters and stuff. I feel like I want to make one of each of the characters, try a different, just to see how it plays on all the characters. So I'm busy with the rogue now, but I just made it last night. It's mostly because I don't, the pit does feel grindy, so it's like I wanted to take a break from that, and I'd rather do it like, because I've been playing with this character with my brother, so it's like I'd rather be doing that with him, the pit, so we can just kind of upgrade our stuff together, because he's playing a rogue, and his character's quite boosted as well. I think he's more boosted than me at the moment. He can do like level, I think 60, the pits like relatively easily compared to me. I think he struggles with the bosses a bit, but I think that's more like learning the boss patterns, because the pits bosses are they have like the shadow sort of aspect where they summon like shadow clones, and they can like they one shot you basically, those things. And the usual that's like they add that to all the bosses. So it becomes like if you don't kill the bosses very quickly, they become like quite chaotic and hard to evade their sort of attacks and stuff. Anyway, I'm like just kind of rambling on now. So I think I'm just gonna teleport to town and log out. But yeah, I'm trying to make like almost like a vampire looking character. That's why I think my character's title is Sanguine Knight. I was playing with a melee, what's this, the Reap. I was playing with that. It feels cool when you play with that, but it's not in the higher level, like higher tier stuff. It becomes too risky to play melee. You get one shot at very like just constantly, and yeah, it's just like I thought that ranged would just be better for my character. Otherwise, I'd have to have much more HP, because I felt like I was just getting killed like instantly. Yeah, cool shot. Thanks a lot for watching. Sorry for like rambling on. Fucking 2 hours actually. I didn't think it would take this long. I thought it would be like much shorter, but guess that happens. So yeah, cool shot. And yeah, I'll check you on the next one. I don't know when I'm record. I don't know if I want to do Let's Plays. I've tried that formula. It gets too like, I don't know. It feels it starts feeling like it's a chore almost for me, because it's like I feel like, oh, I want to stream now, but I just finished like my day job sort of work, and I need to like make food, I need to do stuff, I need to go to shop, and it's like it becomes like quite difficult to just to do that and just stream for like 3-4 hours or whatever, or however long, like 3 to 4 hours, and then just get like no views, which is like very like just frustrating. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel. The Elden Ring DLC is coming out. I don't know if I'm gonna play it immediately. At the moment I'm not feeling like playing it. I'd rather just keep playing Diablo. So I might record it, or I might just record opinions on it or little bits of it and see. I haven't watched the trailer, the new one they released, because I wanted to play it like blind playthrough more. So anyway, cool shot. Thanks for watching and listening or whatever. If you got to this point, then yeah, shot. Thanks. Let me know if you agree or disagree or anything. I like sort of discussing these types of things, and yeah, cool. Check you on the next one. Shot and cheers.